Begin the current Daf, Shabbos Daf Kuf Zayin. Begin the top of the Amid, where our Gemara continues with the halacha of the previous Mishnah, discussing the malacha of Tzeidah. Shis corresponds to Bekazich and Echeskel Torah anytime Daf Achayim. Appreciate everyone who's joining us today. So the ideas we're going to speak about in today's Daf is Kol Paturi de Shabbos is Pata B'Lasa. Generally, in the malachas of Shabbos, wherever it says Pater, it means that you're exempt, you don't have to bring a Korban Chatas, but it's still forbidden. However, there are some exceptions where it's actually mutar l'kitchila. Additionally, we're going to discuss trapping and bruising different types of animals as we begin the next parak. Additionally, which animals a person is chayiv for killing on Shabbos. Some of the terms and concepts we can learn about Shloimy Schwartzberg. There's a unique halacha that actually when a bug is nifter, so to speak, when the bug dies, so then it actually doesn't have tumah. It's actually Shloimy Schwartzberg, specifically 8 different types of bugs that they're unique. We'll always talk about the tumah of Schwartzberg. It's only those 8 types of bugs that when they die, then there's going to be a tumah. Additionally, the tumah of nevela, that the meat is tumah. However, the bones, the hooves, the horns, they're not matame. Regarding the skin of the dead animal, that's actually a machlekes, as we'll discuss in today's daf, if that has tumah. This is the idea of ein b'minei nitzad, which we discussed in previous dafim too, is if it's a type of species that generally not trapped, people don't usually try to trap this to have it, then possibly one wouldn't be chayiv the issa d'oraisa for trapping on Shabbos for that type of an animal. Additionally, the concept of ikudav and migidulai, which is that if you uproot something from where it grows, even though it's not something that's growing from the ground, it grows from this place, that would also be a liability. We'll discuss where else is something growing from, if not from the ground. You uproot something from where the original growth is, that's going to be a chiyuv for the Issa of Shabbos. Additionally, a concept we mentioned many times, malacha shein tzich legufa, someone's digging up a pit, being violent, doing the malacha of cherish, but he's not doing because he wants the pit, he's doing because he wants the earth. That's considered malacha shein tzich legufa, which is the machlekes with Shimon and Rabbi Yehuda, if that's considered Issa d'oraisa or not. So begin the current Daf Kuf Zayin, which we had discussed the previous Mishnah regarding someone was sitting by the doorway and another person came along. So related to the halacha of the Mishnah, the Gemara says the following teaching. Amar Rab Abba, Amar Rab Chia, Bar Ashi, Amar Rab. Says, if let's say somebody is just sitting there and the bird comes under the flap of his garment and the bird can't get out because it got stuck under your jacket. So what's the halacha? So says Rav, Yeshiva Mishamri. A person could just sit and guard it like that. He doesn't have to go ahead and open up any place for him to get out. All he is he's just sitting there and he protects it until it gets dark. He could keep him over there. Says the Gemara, Masav Nachma Yitzchak. He says, what do you mean? We learned in our Mishnah, Yashav Arishan, Ala Pesach, Milahu. We had this machlekes. We had this case. If let's say one guy sits in the doorway and he blocks the deer from getting out, then the second guy comes and sits by his side. We said, even if the first person gets up and he leaves, we said it doesn't make a difference. Only the first one's going to be chayv. The second one's going to be pater because all he's doing is he's sitting over there. Says Gemara, my love, isn't it saying pater b'lasa? Because we know throughout Masechta Shabbos, whenever it says pater, it's exempt, but it's going to be aser, like all Halacha Shabbos. So therefore, how can you say that if a bird comes over here, you don't have to open up a window for him and let him get out, but you see that it's a forbidden thing to do? Says Gemara, no, pater umutter. This is actually a case, it's one of the 3 exceptions where when it says pater, it means actually not only you're exempt, it's actually even permitted to be done. You're not doing anything, you don't have to let the animal out, and you're actually permitted to do that. It says, it's actually logical the way we're saying it, that it's actually permitted. Mektani say, in fact, we say at the end of the Mishnah, when we describe this case of the Mishnah, which we're comparing it to over here, where you didn't do anything, by you just being passive, it's maintaining the deer inside, like when the bird got stuck under your jacket. The Mishnah says, Lamazadam, what could this be compared to? To closing your house, to safeguarding it. Meaning to say, we said that you're just leaving the house on a regular Tuesday, regular Friday, regular Shabbos, and you're just closing the door like everyone does. And it comes that the deer that you had caught 3 weeks ago that's in your house. When you close the door, Shabbos, you're going to shul, going to the kiddush, the deer is getting trapped when you're closing the door. So that's what the Mishnah was comparing it to. It's saying that, hey, you didn't do anything. It's not like you're capturing a deer. Here, when you're the second guy, when you're blocking the doorway, you didn't catch it. It was caught from the first guy. It's just being blocked. Memela. So it says the Gemara, obviously, machal de pater mut. If you're comparing it to a guy who closes his door when he's leaving to shul on Shabbos afternoon, which obviously you're permitted to do, that's what everyone does. If you have a deer in your house, we obviously, when we're comparing it to that, we don't think you're pater, but it's also to be done. Obviously, Mishnah is saying that, yeah, you're allowed to close your door. So Shema Mina, obviously, that proves the point, like we're saying, that not only is it even pater, but it's even mutter to be done. Now, Ikadami, those that say that the first version had it as a question. The second version says it as a support. Amr of Nachman Yitzchak, Afanana Matinina. The first version said, wait a second, how can you say that you're allowed to do this idea of keeping the bird under your jacket until it gets dark? And Mishnah says pater, which pater is abalasa. Now the Gemara is going to say it as a support. Afanana Matinina. The Mishnah said, even if the first person got up and left, the first one's chayav and the second one's pater. My love pater or mutter. Isn't it saying that you're exempt and it's even permitted? Says Gemara, no, maybe pater balasa, maybe it's pater but it's forbidden. That the Gemara says, no, you can't say that because of Naham Miktani Sefer. For the fact that the Sefer says the comparison is Olamazah Daima. What could you compare this to Lanaylas based Lashamra if someone just closing his door, to that it should be, locked when he's leaving to go to shul. And then to Tzvi Shama B'Teichen comes out that the deer that's inside is protected inside. It's, so to speak, caught now, but it's not catching it. It's just maintaining what it always was, which is like this case, where you didn't catch the deer. You're just maintaining what was done by the first guy. Machal de pater mutter. Obviously, that we're saying that if you happen to be passively keeping the deer or the bird or whatever it is inside, you're not obligated to let it out. You didn't do anything. Not only is it pater and usher, it's even pater and mutter. It's even permitted to be done. Shema Mina, that's the raya that the halacha of the Mishnah is comparing it. That's even permitted to be done. And that's where this introduces something that we learned in the beginning of the Masechta Amar Shmuel. It says kol patur de Shabbos. All exemptions of Shabbos. When we say someone is pater, it's pater vel aser. Yes, you're exempt, but it's forbidden. Labar mahani plus, except for these three halachas. The pater umutter, where not only is it exempt, but it's even permitted to be done. What are these three things? The first one is what we're discussing over there. Our halacha, where we said that when you are passively trapping the deer, because the first guy already trapped, and you just happen to become second, and then the first guy gets up, you didn't trap, that is not only pater, but it's even mutter. Now, says Gemara, "Ma'idul pater mutter." How do you know that it's exempt and even permitted? It says, like we said before, because you taught me safer, because you learned the end of the Mishnah. Lamazah, then, could you compare this to Lanaylas based Lashamrei, closing the door just to lock it? V'nim to tzvi shamar b'teich. It comes that the deer happens to be inside. You didn't do any act of tzega. You didn't do anything wrong, and therefore not only is it pater, it's even mutter. What's the other two cases?
Mutter to stay seated, you mean?
Yeah, meaning it's permitted to do this.
It doesn't make a difference because the other guy was sitting.
Yeah. Right.
You're talking about staying seated.
Right. It's permitted to do this. Not only pater, it's permitted. Right. The idach. What's the other case? Hamapis mursa b'Shabbos. If someone pops a boil on Shabbos, so it depends actually why you're doing it. Im lasas lapeh. If you want to make an opening, like Rashi says, the way some doctors of his days would do, which they want there to be an opening. They want ventilation. So then pater. And so then chayiv. Then you're actually going to be liable. Why? Because Rashi has two interpretations. Either because you're actually building an opening, in a person's skin, you're building, or because you're doing misakin, tikkun mana. What's the tikkun? Because who cares if you're fixing a wound or you're fixing a vessel, like we have in the previous time regarding bris milah, like you're fixing a person. So when you're popping the pimple, if you want to make an opening, Rashi says you're going to be chayiv either because of boina or because of misakin mana. So that's two interpretations, but then you're going to be chayiv. But let's say you're not doing it because you want to open it. Let's say you just want the pus to come out right now, and you don't care if it closes up again. So then pater, then you're going to be exempt, and it's going to be even permitted because there's no tikkun here at all. And okay, so there's no tikkun right now, but generally the Rabbanan make exer de Rabbanan when it's something that could be an issa deraisa, like over here. If you might be doing it for making a pesach, you'd be chayv deraisa. Even when you're not trying to, many times the Rabbanan will make an issa Rabbanan. And that says Rashi, no, since there's pain over here, it hurts to have that boil. So b'mokum tsar, we find many times legozu b'Rabbanan, Rabbanan did not make exera. So not only is it, says the Gemara, not only is it a pater, it's even going to be mutter to do. If you just want to get the pus out, so you're not doing any issa deraisa, and there's not even going to be the issa Rabbanan to say that it's initially us. It says about how do you know that this case is going to be potter and mutter? Because it's not. We learn the Mishnah later on. The Mishnah tells us machat shal yad, a hand needle. What that means to say it's a needle that they would sew garments. Now, why are we specifying that it's a hand needle is because the Gemara over there in Kofcha Beis mentions a different type of a needle of a sack, which is used to open up a door because it's a thicker type of a needle. So we call this thinner one the machat shal yad, the hand needle. But be that as an A, we're talking about that the hand needle could be moved on Shabbos, little ba'as hakoitz, to go ahead and take out a thorn that got into somebody's skin. Now, that's similar to the case of popping the boil to let out the pus, because it's paining a person. And we're not concerned if it closes up right away. And what are we saying? This terminology of the Mishnah Kofcha Beis is saying little ba'as hakoitz. You could go and initially go in and take out the thorn. So you see, it's something initially permitted. So that's the same thing as popping the pimple, popping the boil, where we let you go in, and if you're not doing an Issa D'Oraisa, we're not going to make Gzeira D'Rabbanan like by a thorn. You might also be doing some halachas over there. But we don't care because it's B'mokum Tsar, because of D'Rabbanan, as long as it's not an Issa D'Oraisa, we see the terminology there in that Mishnah is little ba, that you're allowed to initially go ahead and do that, and there's no Issa D'Rabbanan. What's the third case? The third case is Hatzad Nachash B'Shabbos. Someone catches a snake on Shabbos, it depends why he's catching it. If he's involved in the shleishach and that shouldn't bite him, so then pot is going to be pot. He's going to be exempt. And l'refu, if he actually trying to catch the snake, because sometimes it has certain chemical properties that you could use from the poisons of the snake as a potion for medicinal purposes, then he's chayv. Now, says the Gemara, if you're trying to catch a snake just that it doesn't bite you, how do you know that not only are you going to be exempt, but it's even permitted to be done on Shabbos? Because it's not. This is also because we learn the Mishnah Kuf Chav Aleph Amarav. Mishnah tells us, Kaifin Ka'ara, you could turn over a bowl made out of earthenware that doesn't get on flame, alaner on the candle, b'shvil shlei teches bakar, that it doesn't catch on to the beam. Meaning, you're not putting out the fire, because that would be mechaba, but we just that it shouldn't catch on fire. What we also learn over there is that you're allowed to move a vessel to save something that cannot be moved on Shabbos, which Mefarshim explained would not be like Rabbi Yitzchak as we had in the previous daf in this Masechta. And valtzaya shel cotton, you could also take the bowl to cover over the feces, the excrement of a child, because it's disgusting. Val akra, and the scorpion, this is the main point, shalei tishich, that it shouldn't bite. So even though by default it's going to be captured, still if you want that it shouldn't sting you, that it shouldn't bite you, so you see that b'mokum tsar legoz b'rabanan, that's exactly halacha, like we're saying, tsar nachash shalei shechena, is we find that it's actually going to be mutter, the ketchilah. So these are the three exceptions that in all the Patur of Shabbos is usually part of Aser, but our case that we're discussing here in our Mishnah, where you should remain standing over there, it's permitted. Popping the boil, if it's to let the pus out, is mutter the ketchilah, and also that capturing the snake that it shouldn't bite. These two are because of it, since it's b'makom tsar, like b'rabanan, so it's not even Aser, it's actually going to be even mutter like Ketchila. Hadin Lacha Erig, which I'll return to the 13th parak in Seth Shabbos Erig, which discuss a few different types of malachas. And with that, we continue on to parak Shloimy Schwartzberg, the 14th parak in Masechta Shabbos, which continues on the theme of the previous parak of the malacha of Tzeda, and also regarding the malacha of Chayvel, of inflicting a wound. Says
the snake is only a snake, or it's any animal that you're afraid that's going to bite?
Yeah, so it's any animal that
There's a bee, you're allowed to cover up a bee. So
Are you allowed to kill it?
yeah, so we're going to discuss that. So we're going to discuss that also regarding killing. Killing is one thing. Capturing is something else. In practical halacha, generally regarding capturing, there is heterim for capturing, not necessarily for killing. And we're actually our own daf on Amud Beis can discuss that the difference between capturing and regarding killing. Yeah, and it's not necessarily regarding a snake. It's regarding depends what exactly it is, but there is So we're not giving the halacha share over here, but there is malkum lahakal when it's regarding capturing, that it's an ein b'mina nitza. That's what we can discuss on the base. It's not generally capturing, so that would only be possibly a malacha issa d'rabanan. So that if it's b'malkum tsar, then like goes abundant that you could put a cup over that it shouldn't be biting you. So we begin the 14th parak Shloimy Schwartzberg. Shloimy Schwartzberg. So now we're going to discuss the opening up with the 8 types of bugs, or shrotzim, better said, vermin that the Torah discusses, which is in Vayikra Perek Yud Aleph, which talks about Hachelid, Va'achber, V'goyim. It talks about that what's unique about these is that, like we said in the introduction, all shrotzim when they die, they actually don't contaminate. It's only 8 specific shrotzim that the Torah mentions that they have a tumah when they die. And regarding those shemayin the shrotzim, hatzadan, whoever captures them, the malach of tzeder, he's going to be chayiv. Why? Because these 8 types, they're what's called b'minay nitzid. Their types get hunted. People want them. People want these animals. So therefore, since it's b'minay nitzid, is the type that you generally would capture, if you capture them on Shabbos, so that's going to be chayiv for the issa daraisa of tzeder on these shrotzim. So if someone bruises them, chayiv is going to be chayiv. Now this is going to be a topic we're going to be discussing in the Gemara. Why are you chayiv if you bruise them? Because they have quote unquote ur. They have skin. So what that means to say is when you're going to, let's say, punch such an animal, what's going to happen is that the blood is going to be released from the capillaries and it's going to not come back into the bloodstream. And it's going to get it's going to go into the skin, which means to say that the skin is separate than the flesh. So it's going to be removed, it's going to be released, and it's not going to go back into the bloodstream. So that is like Rashi says, either a telod of sheichet, of slaughtering, which is the release of the blood, or it's actually, but since they have skin, so the skin gets dyed, like you see what's called a black and blue mark. What happens is that the blood is collecting and it's dyeing the skin. So Rashi has 2 interpretations. What's the liability of chabur, either because of sheichet or because of tzebeah? That's Taisa discusses which one he likes, but that's going to be the malacha of the chabur. So either one, these what?
Both.
Could be. Depends on how you understand the malacha. So these 8 shrotzim, if you capture them, you can be chayiv because they're b'minay nitzid. They're the types that generally are caught. If you make a bruise in them, you're also going to be chayiv because they have quote unquote ur. Now, the sharshkat, some other vermin, brumasim, and crawling creatures, like a worm or a snake or a scorpion. So them hachayiv behen. If someone inflicts a wound in them, pot is going to be potter. Why you potter if you give a wound over there? Because they don't have ur. They don't have skin. Which again means to say that it's not considered a separate entity than their flesh. So therefore you're not going to have the chiyuv of sheichet or of tzeveah. Now, hatzada, now let's say someone captures them. These other types of shkatzim or muscle. So it depends. If you're capturing them because you have a need for them, it's a chayiv because you're doing malach of tzeder. Shalei l'tzarech, if you're doing it for not a purpose, then pot you could make exempt. The way Rashi understands this is because since these animals are ein b'minay nitzid, they're generally not caught because you want it. It's only like you don't want it to bite you. So that's considered malacha she'en tzricha l'guf. You don't really need this capturing. You just want it for some secondary benefit that doesn't bite you. So the Mishnah is like Reb Shimon, as the Gemara explains, and therefore you're going to be pater because it's a malacha she'en tzricha l'gufa. Again, that's the other shkatzim ramasim. The primary ones we said you're going to be chayiv because the skin is hard and it's chabur she'en chezeres. And then these are going to be pater from chayiv because the skin is soft. It's a chabur or chezeres, it goes back into, it's not considered a separate entity, and therefore you'd be pater. Mishnah concludes with a related halacha, chayiv ha'ifsha b'shusay. If you have wild animals or birds on your property, in your control, so then hatzadan, if you capture them, pater, you can be exempt, because they're what's called nitzud ba'imit. They're already caught, already in your property. Capturing them is not doing a new capturing. And if you do a wound in the bird or the wild animal, because they do have skin. Wild animals and birds, they have skin, and therefore if you bang them, you hit them with a stick, it's going to cause it to blood and a rupture, and it's going to go into the skin, and then there again, that's creating either dying or the malacha of sheichet, of slaughter. Now the Gemara asks as follows: Medigtani hachayvel behen. For the fact that you said that if you inflict a wound in these 8 shrotzim hamur b'Torah, that chayiv can be chayiv. Mechlal de'islu ar. The inference is that they obviously have skin, because if there's no skin, like we said, so then there's no chavol, there's no wound, because it comes right back in, it continues through the bloodstream. So it has to be, it has skin. Says Gemara, so Matan, who's the Tan of the Mishnah? So we have Machlekes, who's the Tan of the Mishnah? Amar Shmuel says Rabbi Yochanan ben Nui. Rabbi Yochanan ben Nui. Why? Because now we learn the Mishnah on Daf Kov Chov Beis that says Rabbi Yochanan ben Nui Omer. He says Shmayne shrotzim yesh lehen iris. He says there's 8 types of shrotzim that have skin, have hide, which he's disagreeing with Rabbanan that are empirical overrated, that there's what's called the Anaka, the Kayach, the Alta, and the Chaymet, which are 4 of the 8 shrotzim, that the Chacham say that their skin contaminates like the size of a lentil, just like the meat. of the meat of the animal. So obviously, according to the Rabbanan, that those four are they don't have hide. So again, we have this machlekes by nevela. The basa of a nevela, dead animal, is going to be mitame. What's with the oir? So the oir is not mitame, but like what's with shlein shratzim? What's with these 8 types of bugs when they're dead? So Rabbi Shloimy considers the hide as he holds that the yeshlem oirs. This is supposed to say that it is mitame, and the Rabbanan hold well some are mitame, some are not mitame. So obviously our Mishnah is saying that the shlein shratzim, that if you're doing a chavola, that you're going to be chayiv, is obviously because they have skin. Because like I said, if there's no hide, then you wouldn't be chayiv. Then who's that like? Must be like Rabbi Shloimy, because he considers all these hides not ein mitame, but actually mitame. So obviously the Mishnah is like him. Oh, actually no, it's actually in mitame. That because he considers the hide is not separate from the flesh. It's actually it actually is correct. The ein mitame, and therefore you see that it's like. Sorry, no, it considers the hide. No, that it is mitame. Sorry, it is mitame because it is like the. No, it's ein mitame. We're going back and forth. It's einoi mitame, that it's like a separate entity and not like the flesh itself. So that's obviously that yesh len or. Yes, so it is correct. Ein mitame. The Rabbanan who say some are ein mitame, some are mitame, is obviously they're not like the halacha of the Mishnah. Because why are you differentiating? If you're going to say that some are mitame like the flesh, it means to say that they're like the flesh. It means to say those 4 don't have hide. Rabbi Shloimy, who says that they're ein mitame, is obviously they're like hide because they're like the flesh and it would become tummy. So our Mishnah must be like Rabbi Shloimy, who holds that the oir is separate. It's not like the flesh itself, and therefore you're going to be chayv for chavala because it's like flesh, and you wouldn't be chayv for chavala because that means it never got released from something else into something else, into the hide. That's one interpretation. But Rabbi Rav Huna Merav, he says no. Afilatema Rabbanan. You could even say that the Mishnah is like Rabbanan, because Adkan loy pligi Rabbanan le Rabbi Shloimy. Where do we find the machlekes Rabbi Shloimy on with Rabbanan? That's el inyan tumah. That's only regarding the laws of tumah. Where then we're going to have a machlekes if the hide is like the flesh, because the chesed that's based on the gzeis hakasav in the pasuk in Vayikra. The pasuk says Eila tameim lachem. These are the ones that are tamei for you. The pasuk says in every sheretz, whoever touches them when they're dead will be tamei until the evening. Now, when it says in the pasuk after it talks about the anok and the koyach, which are these few types of shratzim, it says extra hay. It says Eila hatameim. That's a ribui. Hatameim, the ones that are tamei, is l'rabbi, says there's a ribui coming to include sharisein kibsarim, that their skin is like their flesh. Now, just a little bit complicated. It says the word Eila hatameim. The letter Hey is a ribui, so it's coming to include other things. What's it coming to include? Not only the flesh, but even the skin. Even the skin will be tummy. But the thing is, the word Eila is saying these. These is a meat, saying only these. So these is coming to exclude the first pasuk. The Shlein Shratzim are in 2 different pasukim. Half in this pasuk, half in that pasuk. The last pasuk, after that, it says Eila hatameim. These are the ones that are tummy. So the Hey is coming to include something. It's coming to include even the skin. But Eila is saying only this last pasuk, not the first pasuk. Not Achaylid Va'achber Batzah. They're not including that. So therefore, according to the Rabbanan, the reason why some are mitame, the skin, which is me like the flesh, and some are they're not going to be mitame, they're going to be like the hides, is simply because we have a pasuk, Gzeres HaKasav, which says a ribui, including that some are going to be mitame, like the flesh, and some are not because Eila excludes the first pasuk. That's why they're differentiating. In the Shabbos, but regarding Shabbos, even the Rabbanan would agree that they do have skin, and you would be chayiv for chavala on Shabbos. So therefore, it's not necessarily going to be like Rabbi Shloimy. Again, let's do this one more time. The first thing I wanted to say that the Mishnah has to be like Rabbi Shloimy, because again, we're talking about in the Mishnah that you chayiv for chavala. If you chayiv for chavala, it's only when the skin is hard, which means to say that it's like a separate entity, different than the flesh. So he said, "Oh, who's that like? Must be like Rabbi Shloimy, because he says that he says regarding the tumah, it's not on the skin, it's ein mitame. So it must be that it's considered like hide, like a separate entity. Oh, so then you'd be chayv for chavala. according to the Rabbanan that differentiates, say some are matame, some are ain't matame, that means to say obviously the Shema and the Shvatzim, all 8 of them are not necessarily going to be Ar. 4 of them will be Ar, 4 of them will not be Ar. And that's says Rav, no. You could say the Mishnah is even like the Rabbanan. Now, why are you differentiating? Well, that's Exeris HaKasim. That's because it says a pasuk, Eila Hatameim. The hay's coming to include. So why only picking 4 of them? Why are only 4 going to be considered tummy like the Basar and 4 not? Well, because it says Eila. Eila is saying only this last pasuk, not the first pasuk. So therefore those from there are going to be included. But really, without the Exeris HaKasim, we would say it wouldn't be tummy. Why wouldn't it be tummy? Because it's considered hide. It's considered something distinct. So with a ribu, you're including 4 of them, not 8 of them. But that means to say it has hide. If it has hide, so then the Gemara Tan of our Mishnah, all 8 shvatzim have hide, and therefore, if you make a chabola on Shabbos, you're going to be hide because it's considered having hide. That's what the Gemara is saying, that on Hilchas Shabbos, all shvatzim are considered hide, and you'd be chayiv for chayiv. But then the Gemara continues to ask, it says, wait a second. Are you telling me that no one disagrees with the halacha of our Mishnah? Not, it doesn't have to be just like Rabbi Shloimy. It could even be like Rabbanan, that they're going to agree that for Shabbos it's going to be considered chavala. What time in the Bryce? Hatzad echad mishmein the shvatzim amur b'Torah. If someone catches one of the 8 shvatzim that are said in the Torah, or hachayil ben, or he inflicts a wound in one of these 8 shvatzim, so chayiv zmichayiv. That's like the time of our Mishnah. That's the Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri. The sages say no. Ein ar ella, as we continue with base, lama shaman chacham. It's not considered hide, but for the ones that the sages count, which is in Shchitas Chulin, which are these 4 that we say that the oiros are kibsar. What are the 4 that the sages count over there? We say those that their hide is like their flesh. Now, immediately the Gemara asks on this and finds that difficult. This must be a mistake, because Adrabah to the contrary. The ones that the sages count, which we say that, because over there in Masechtas Chulin, they're talking about what is considered tummy from an animal. So what's considered tummy from an animal is the meat, not the hooves, not the horns, not all these things, including the skin. But the Chacham say, I want you to know, there are 4 types that their skin will be like their flesh and will also be tummy. So the Gemara jumps in and says, wait a second, the ones that Chacham do count, the ones that Chacham count, you're telling me, will be Ur? To the contrary, for the ones that the sages count, ain lahem ur. They're the ones that don't have skin, because those are the ones you tell me are saying kibbusar, and the skin is like the flesh. How could you? I didn't even read the words. It doesn't make sense. The ones that they're counting are not ur. How can you? No, they don't have ur. Besides the ones that the sages count, the ones that they count, they're coming to tell you the laws of tum over there. They're telling the ones that are not considered ur, because we're telling you it's like the basar. V'amabai says no, hachikama. So it says, no, this is what the Chacham is saying. And this is going to be the question on Rav. Obviously, the words are supposed to say, Ein ar chaluk mi basar. The hide is not considered distinct from the flesh, meaning to be liable for Shabbos, which is really what Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri is talking about. Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri in this Bryce is talking about the laws of Shabbos. He's saying, if you capture or you chayvel ben on Shabbos, you're going to be chayv. And the Chacham say, no, Ein ar, it's not going to be considered distinct as hide, which is different than the flesh, to be chayiv for making chavala on Shabbos. He's adding on the word loy, essentially, saying only for which the sages did not count, for the chaylid, the achbid, the tzava, and the tin shamas. But you're right, the anaka, the koyach, the alta, and the chaymet, which I'm just saying the names of the 8 different types of shratzim, which there's groups of 4. There, the hide is not different from the basar, and it's not going to be chabur. So therefore, again, we understand now what they're saying. That it's only going to be the ones that they don't count, because the ones they count they're saying is like basar. The ones that they don't count is not like basar. But one thing is, it's difficult for Rav. Rav said that everyone, even the Rabban, and not only Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri, agreed for the laws of Shabbos, that all the Shemaim, the Shratzim, you can be chayiv for Chavala because the is chalik from the basar. Here you see clearly that the Rabbanan say no. The ones that I say for Tumah are like the basar, for Shabbos are also like the basar. And therefore you wouldn't be chayiv for Chavala. So that's not like Rav, who said that even the Rabbanan would agree to the halacha of the Mishnah, that no one disagrees on Shabbos, that they only disagree for Tumah because it exists and Gasim. Here you see clearly that even the laws of Shabbos they disagree. Everyone's with me? Yeah. So and that says the Gemara that no, Amalei Rava. Rava says to Abaye, he says, wait a second, you're misinterpreting this brisa, and therefore you're asking a question on Rav. You have to reinterpret it, and therefore it won't be difficult on Rav. He says, Halama sheman chacham kama. Based on what you're saying, he says the words of the brisa are for what the sages did count, and you're trying to say that no, it's what they didn't count. As Rashi explains, a Tan is not going to make a mistake in his words between lamash shemanu or lamash shaloimanu. you're like adding on the word loy over here. That's a big edit over there to say the exact opposite. Elam Rabba rather says Rabba. This is what the Bryce is saying. Ein ar mitami kabasar. Keep the words as they are. But it's not regarding the laws of Shabbos. When the Rabbanu were commenting on what Rabbi Shloimy said, they were saying Ein ar mitami kabasar is regarding the hide's not going to be contaminated like meat. Elam hashaman chachamim. Only for what the sages had counted. Now, so what's the Rabbanu telling Rabbi Shloimy? Rabbi Shloimy was discussing the laws of Shabbos. Achayil behen, and atzadim behen. What if you're keeping the words now the way they're said in the Brisa, but so Rashi explains the way Rav is explaining what the Rabbanu telling Rabbi Shloimy says regarding what you say regarding Shabbos. We agree that the Shemay Neshratzim have ar, and if we make a chabon, then you're going to be chayiv. So that's not what they're disagreeing. That's like Rav. They agree regarding Shabbos. So what's their comment then? Their comment is regarding Tumah. However, their hide is like their flesh, because of the riba, like we explained Amen Al, from Hatameim. But the that's going to be Mitama like Basar is not for all 8. It's only for 4 of them. And that's what they're coming to say. That it's only going to be like for the ones that, meaning the is going to be like the Basar, only the ones that the sages counted, which are for the 8, but not all 8.
Not separate.
What?
That means they're considering it not separate from the Basar.
So yeah, right. Those 4 are not separate than the Basar because of Xeris HaKasav of Hatameim. But there's also Eila, which is saying only these 4, not those 4. So although Rabbi Shloimy is not talking about this, he's only talking about Shabbos, but we do know that he disagrees regarding the laws of Tumah also. So in the Brisa, they're commenting saying, whoa, we agree that these 8 are going to be Chaval of Shabbos. But regarding the laws of Tumah, not necessarily. Regarding Tumah, only 4 of them are going to be like the Basar, and 4 of them are not going to be like the Basar.
Why those 4 down?
Because of Hatameim, the Riboy of Ha, comes to include the but Eila says only this last pasuk, not the first pasuk.
So how come exactly these 4? Where would you know if this is another?
There are 2 different psukim. No, there are 2 different psukim. The 8 shratzim. One's in one pasuk, one's in another pasuk. So when we say Eila, it's going back only on the previous pasuk, not the pasuk before that. Now, what says Gemara say? Wait. Machlal, the inference is Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri that Hanach nami deloy man chacham, that even the ones that the chacham did not count. Are you telling me that mitamim, that they're going to be tamei, which sounds like that they're disagreeing on that also, not only regarding the halach of Shabbos, but also regarding the laws of Tumah. But we learned over there regarding the laws of Tumah, Rabbi Yochanan, he says ches shratzim yesh lehen oyres. He actually says that the 8 shratzim have hides, but loy mitamim. They're not tamei. Meaning, the wording sounds like that the ones that it sounds like that Rabbi Yochanan is saying, what he's saying? He's saying that, wait a second, that the ones that the Chachamim, he's saying, no, Ein ar, if you read the words of what the Rabbana had said, Ein ar el lamashem an Chacham, that there's only going to be hide for the ones that the sages had said. And how did Rav explain this? He says, the laws of being Metame Kabasar is only going to be for the ones that the sages counted. Obviously, you're coming to minimize, which means to say that you, Rabbi Yochanan, you're saying it's going to be Metame Kabasar, even the ones that the Chacham did not count. That's what it sounds like, right? If the way Rav is reinterpreting the Brisa, that he's saying Ein are only for the ones that the Chacham counted. Well, which one did the Chacham count? Chacham counted the 4 that will be Tamei Kabasar, and that's what the Rabbanan told Rabbi Yochanan that okay, the ones that can be Tamei Kabasar, only the ones that Chacham counted, which is that the other 4. That they weren't Tamei Kabasar. But obviously the inference sounds like Rabbi Yochanan himself says, no, all 8 are going to be Tamei Kabasar. And the Rabban say, whoa, wait a second. Only these 4, not those 4. Says the Gemara, how can you say that? If anything is the exact opposite. The Brisa tells us, Rabbi Yochanan says that the 8 shratzim, they all are. And like he says in the, and we're explaining for the halacha of our Mishnah, that they're not going to be Metame. So how can you this whole interpretation doesn't even fit? Their words seem to indicate that he holds that all 8 are going to be Metame, he doesn't hold any of them. He holds that all consider are. And if he holds Chabal, you can have a Shabbos, because it's totally distinct. So rather, Amar Ravad Ramas, we have a third interpretation. He says, Taratz Hachi. You have to explain the Brisa like this. You have to delete the word Ella. And it's like this. The sages say, regarding the laws of Tumah, Ein ar l'mashem an chachamim. There's no hide for the ones that the Chacham count. Because like we said, the ones that Chacham count, we consider like the Basar. So they're not going to be considered as ar. And that's what they're disagreeing with Rabbi Shloimy, because Rabbi Shloimy considers that all of them are ar. all of them don't have a tumah like basar. All of them are going to have chaval, meaning, Rashi explains, the reason why it's not difficult according to Rav anymore is because what the Rabbanim are telling you Nirwa says, look, regarding Shabbos we agree to you. If you make a chaval in all the 8 shratzim, you're going to be chayiv. But regarding the laws of tumah, we disagree that we don't consider all 8 shratzim having ur. The ones that have ur is only those that the ones that the Chum counted. The ones that the Chum counted, they don't have ur, but the other 4 do have ur. So this that you're saying that all of them have ur, no. It's actually the 4 that Chum count, they don't have ur. So regarding Shabbos, we agree to you that they have ur. But the one that Chum count, they don't have ur. Why don't they have ur? Because of a riboy of hatamei. So therefore, the Gemara has resolved the difficulty on Rav. Really, everyone agrees regarding laws of Shabbos, even the Rabbanon, that you're going to be chayav for because it has ur. The Brisa, the way we're amending it, is ein ur el l'mashem an chacham. We're taking out the word el. Ein ur l'mashem an chacham. The ones that Chum count don't have ur. And that's what's mitama, like the basar. But for Shabbos, it is considered having ur because it really does have ur. It does have hive. The reason why Tama is different is because the Gezeiras HaKasav of Hataneim, which includes that the ur should be like the basar. Yeah, everyone got that? We tried explaining what the Bryce is talking about. We finally had the resolution, and it's because it's told Matuma, which is unique, of a riboy, but regarding Shabbos, everyone could agree to Rav, even the Rabbanan, not just Riyach Menuri, that could be the Tana of our Mishnah. But the Gemara continues asking and says, wait a second, Bakati, is that really so that still the Inya Shabbos Le'Pli, that no one disagrees regarding Shabbos? But the time you learn the Bryce, Hatzad, Echad Mecheshma, Shratz Mamor Matem. If someone captures, traps, one of the 8 shratzim that is written in the Torah, or a chayvel ban, where he inflicts a wound on them, chayiv is michayiv, and says the Brayso, so what are we talking about? B'shratzim sheshlan iris. We're talking about the shratzim that have hides, meaning for the 4 that the sages didn't count, because the 4 that the sages did count don't have ir, because they're talking like kibbasar. The 4 that they didn't count, those are the ones that you michayiv for chaval on Shabbos. Now the ezi chabura, and says the Brayso, a very important qualification. What is considered a wound? Shein lechezeres, that it doesn't go back; it's irreversible. Now. Nitzer hadam, if let's say the blood collects and gathers in one place, the nafa pishalayatza, even though it doesn't emerge, but it's not going to go back into the bloodstream, you're really chayiv for inflicting chaval. That's the Tanakam. He says no, ches shratzim yesh l'naris. All 8 shratzim have iris, and you chayiv for chavala on all 8. So one thing you see clearly is that the Chachamim, the Tanakama, they say that chaval is not by all 8 shratzim. That contradicts Rav. Rav wanted to say Allah for the mission doesn't have to be only like Yerichim, it could be even like Rabbanon. You see the Rabbanon, they do differentiate not even for the laws of Tumah, even laws of Shabbos. You can be chayiv v'chabal only for those that have a or. The ones that don't have a or are not going to be chayiv. So that contradicts Rav. And then Rav Ashi says no. Man Tanakama, who's the Tanakama of this Brisa that says only by Shratzim that have iris, which sounds like that there are some that you're going to be patur on, meaning for those that quote unquote don't have or, and then you're going to be patur v'chavala? It's not the Rabbanon. The classic Rabbanan that disagree with Yerich Menuri regarding the laws of Tumah would agree over here for Shabbos. So Rav is maintained. But there's a third opinion. That's Rabbi Yehuda. And according to Rabbi Yehuda, you're right. According to him, he wouldn't be the Tana of a Mishnah because he's the Azul Basa Gishta. He goes based on the thickness. Regarding the laws of Tumah, he doesn't learn from Eila HaTameim. Rather, he says, you know which shratzim the skin is going to be like the bus or not? Depends on the thickness. If it has a thick skin, so that's considered oil. It's considered like having a hide. That's not like the flesh. If it's not thick, then it's like the basar. That's not like we learned over there in the Mishnah Masechtas Chulin. He says halta kuchulda. The halta, because it has thick skin, he considers like the chulda, as it's brought over there in the overrated. So therefore, regarding the laws of Shabbos also, it's not going to be considered skin by 3 of them. Anoka, koyach, and chaymet are those that don't have thick skin. So they're going to be considered like the basar, and you would not be chayiv for creating chavala. Avol Rabbanan, but the Rabbanan we're recording on Amid Aleph on Parak overrated that they count halta in those that the iris are like the besaran and not like chulda. Obviously, their reasoning is not because of if it's skin or not skin, meaning if it's thick or thin. This might be a little bit confusing, but we differentiate along the lines. There's 8 shratzim. There's 2 psukim of 4. So we differentiated. We said some are going to be like the basar, some are not going to be like the basar. So we said it's not because of if it's hide or not. We said it's simply because of the Gezeiras HaKasav of Hatameim. We're including the hay is a riboy, inclusionary terminology, including that although generally the is not like the basar, we're saying the is going to be like the basar too. But Eila says only for the second basar, not for the first basar. Now, there's another opinion that of Rabbi Yehuda, who he doesn't go based on 4 and 4. He goes based on 5 and 3. Why 5 and 3? Because he says, look at them. If it has thick skin, 5 of them have thick skin, so therefore they're not going to be like the basar. 3 of them have thin skin, so it's like the basar. So 3 of them will be like the basar, 5 of them not. So the Rabbanon that they split it with 4 and 4, obviously they're not going on thick and thin skin. They're just going based on the drush regarding tumah. That's what they're disagreeing about. Oh, the pligal of Rabbi Yochanan in tumah, they who disagree with Rabbi Yochanan regarding the laws of tumah, in Shabbos, regarding Shabbos, they would agree that of course it has or. It is like Rav. The Mishnah could be like the Rabbanon. It's all regarding tumah, which is basically like Kasiv. That's where they would disagree. Says the Gemara, if that's the case, hi dir Rabbi Yochanan. So then why is the Bryce that we mentioned before regarding the laws of Shabbos saying that there's the opinion of Rabbi Yochanan Nuri, but since they tell me the Rabban don't disagree, they only disagree regarding the laws of Tumah, the Rabbi Yochanan Nuri should have said this is the opinion of Rabbi Yochanan Nuri, and those who dispute him, but that they agree regarding the laws of Shabbos, and it's only Rabbi Yehuda who disagrees. So I think, well, yeah, to me, you should amend the Bryce to say the Rabbi Yochanan Nuri because it's not just Rabbi Yochanan Nuri, it's even the Rabban who disagree with him regarding Tumah, they agree regarding the laws of Shabbos, that Achayv Ben in all 8 shratzim would be chayv from Rabbi Yehuda, who holds that there would be some that would be potter. Because those that have thin skin, according to Yehuda, would be potter because he would not consider that as a chavala because it has thin skin. Now, continuing on this theme, says the Gemara, Baimene Levi Miredi. It says, Minayin lechabur, which we mentioned this idea in the previous brisa. From where do we know that a wound is she'in lechazeres, is that it's irreversible, that it's not going back, and that we should know that if it does go back, it's not going to be considered a wound. Like, for example, those that don't have hide, where the blood gathers and it goes right back into the bloodstream, or let's say a small little wound, which doesn't, the blood doesn't gather, you see it's starting to get red and it goes right back in. How do we know that that would not be the chiv of chabura on Shabbos? It says because there's a pasuk in Yomי that says hayahapach kushi ari. There's very much in the Black Lives Matter movement right now. The pasuk says, do you think that the skin of a kushi, of an Ethiopian, of a black, is going to go back to being white? The namach hababaroisa, and that the leopard, it's going to switch the colors? Says wait. My chabab b'reisa. How do we understand the pasuk? What's chabab b'reisa? Eli, maybe you would think, as it sounds like the pasuk coming to say the koi rikmi, that it has all these colored patches, meaning it's spotted. The pasuk is saying it's spotted with different colors, and you tell me that like the black is not going to become white, so too the colors on that leopard or whatever it is going to change. Then why is saying chabab b'reisa? Number gavanim mibayle. It should say, do you think that the colors are going to change? So El Rada says the Gemara is coming to tell us the following halacha. Kakushi. It's telling us to compare it to the first side of the pasuk like a black, which is ma'ori de kushi, and it says just like his skin is not going to be reversed. It's not coming back white. Af chabura. So to a chabab b'reisa, a wound is ina chizeres, is not going back. So Rashi explains that number is a terminology of temura, of changing, which means to say that, do you think that just like the black cannot change his skin color, the number chabab means to say that you're going to change the chabura of the oir, of the skin, to go back as it originally was, that it shouldn't get hard where the wound was. If it's not coming back, that's considered chabab b'reisa. Just like that's not going back, just like his skin color is not coming back, so too here the wound is not coming back. That's chabab b'reisa. That's the source of halacha of learning out that a chabura is something that doesn't come back, and that would be the chiv of the Isra of Shabbos. This should be said in the Mishnah. The shar shkatzim. Okay, up until now we spoke about the shmoyne shratzim. Other vermin and bugs, we said that if you make a chabura, you're going to be patur. Says the Gemara. Okay, the Gemara makes the following deal. Hard meaning, and if you're being patur for making a wound, obviously the Rashi explained in the Mishnah that there's no herb, that they don't have. It's not considered like they have hide. So that's like that goes back. Says the Gemara. Okay, it sounds like only chavala, which is like not just inflicting wound. Haharga, but if you kill them, something chai, then you'd be chai, because even killing you'd be patur. You should have said a big yechid that you're going to kill him. So says the Gemara, Mantana, who's the time of the Mishnah that would hold that you'd be chayiv for killing them? So Amar Bimi says Rabbi Lezer, it's Rabbi Lezer. The time like in the Brisa. Lezer, he says a hurricane b'Shabbos. If someone kills even lice on Shabbos, kahar gamal b'Shabbos, like killing a camel on Shabbos. Now it's not specifically a camel; it's only because the camel is very large. We're saying even though lice is so small, you can be chayiv for killing on Shabbos. So he's the time of a Mishnah. Even shkatzim or masim, if you kill them, kill a bug, be chayiv for killing on Shabbos. On that mask, Rabbi Yezer asked, we said, wait a second. Ad kan leplig Rabban like Rabbi Eliezer. Why are you saying it's only like Rabbi Eliezer? Rabbanan who disagree with Rabbi Eliezer, it's elabekina. It's only regarding lice because they ain't a part of a rabba because it doesn't reproduce, at least that what we can see with the naked eye. So therefore they hold that's not considered as an animal that you're chayv for killing on Shabbos. But regular bugs and vermin, the part of rabba which they proliferate, like Pligi, Rabba wouldn't disagree, and therefore he says no. The Tana of the Mishnah doesn't have to be just a Rabbi Eliezer. It could even be like the Rabbanan. Now says the Gemara. So what is this machlekes we're talking about? Both of them learn it out from the rams, meaning we learn that all malachas of Shabbos from the Mishkan. By the Mishkan, they had these rams that they would kill, and they would take the skins and dye it, what's called the elim or adamim, which were used for the ureas in the Mishkan. So we learned it out from the rams. Rabbi Eliezer saw he holds ke'elim like the rams ma'im, just like the rams shesh b'am netilas neshama. That okay, you're killing the animal to get the hides. Of course, shesh b'am netilas neshama. Any creature that you're killing is michayev for killing it on Shabbos, which includes even lice. Rabban said, the hold no ke'elim like rams, ma'im the part of Rabban, just like rams proliferate, they have children. I've called the part of Rabban also all that proliferate, in contrast to lice that we don't see that, and therefore that would be excluded from the halacha. But regarding all other shkats or masim, of course you'd be chayiv, and therefore he disagrees and he holds that you'd be chayiv for killing, even according to Rabban, and for all shkats and masim. Now that Abai says, wait a second, the kina ain't part of a Rabban? Is that really so that lice don't proliferate and therefore the Rabban hold you not chayiv for killing lice on Shabbos? But the master said, and it's the first sugya in the set of the Zara, that Yeshiva Kodesh Baruch Hu Kodesh Baruch Hu sits and he sustains Mikarni Re'enim, which is one of the largest creatures, but Be'ikinim until what the Gemara originally assumes this means to say is very small lice. Right when they come out of the eggs, Hashem sustains them. So you see that these are creatures that have eggs that sustain themselves, and Hashem sustains them, and they proliferate. So you see that they do proliferate. And that's what the Gemara no minahu demikri Be'ikinim. It's not the eggs of lice. This creature is called Beye Kingdom. So, but kingdom themselves don't have eggs and they don't proliferate. And therefore you wouldn't be chayev for killing lice. Says but how can you say we're talking about the Brisa Tufuye, which is some type of a sheretz, who Beye Kingdom, that we see that they are considered the eggs of the lice. Says Mahiros no minahu demikri Beye Kingdom. It's a species that's called Beye Kingdom. But there are no eggs of lice. It's a creature called Beye Kingdom. Says wait a second, the Gemara still asks on Rabbi Yossi. He says everyone agrees that when it's par of a rava, or in the proliferates, you can be chayav for killing it on Shabbos, but vari parish. But you have a flea, the par of a rava, which proliferates, and you have a time in the Bryce had sod parish, but Shabbos boom catches a flea on Shabbos from, let's say, a place where it's not intrinsically captured, like from the ground or from his garments on the outside. So we have a machlekes. Rabbi Eliezer says you're going to be chayav. Rabbi Shloimy says you're going to be exempt. Wait a second, but a flea proliferates, and still you see that there is an opinion that says you're going to be pater. So on that, Rav Ashi says, Tzeidah, Riga Kramer says what someone had already commented in the beginning of the shiur. You're comparing killing to trapping? Ad Kalin Pligi, Rebbe Eliezer, Rebbe Shul, where was there? Machlekes El Demar Sa Rebbe Eliezer held Davish Ein B'Mina Nitzit Chayiv. That even something that's not generally the species that you're going to be Chayiv, Umar Sa Pater. What's the Machlekes over here in this price we just quoted? Rebbe Shul holds the reason why you're going to be Pater is because generally people don't want to catch fleas. You're not desperate to capture a flea. So therefore you're going to be Pater because it's not B'Mina Nitzit. So regarding the laws of tzedek we spoke about, that sometimes you can find heterim to put a cup over a bug regarding if it's paining a person because of tzedek. But what does that have to do with the halacha of our Mishnah? Avalin hariga regarding killing, which we were commenting before. I feel like Bishul would agree that you can be chayiv. If it's part of a rabba, everyone agrees that you can be chayiv, and if everyone agreed to the halacha of the Mishnah of shar shkotz v'masim that you can be chayiv, it's only regarding trapping that they have machlekes. If it's b'mina nitzad or in b'mina nitzad, Bishul would hold that you can be pater, and Eliezer holds that you can be chayiv. We learned in the Mishnah regarding the shar shkotz and masim. We said that if you're trapping them, so it really depends, because if you're not trapping them for a purpose, you can be pater because they're not the types that are generally trapped, other bugs. So therefore you can be pater. But if you're trapping them for a purpose, you want it for a certain purpose, then you're going to be chayiv. So it says the Gemara, Mantana, Hudzatan of our Mishnah holds that if you don't need it, you're going to be pater. So Rabbi Yehuda Rav, he says that it's Rib Shimon. It's going like Rib Shimon, that he says malacha shin tzich leguf. If you're doing a malacha that you don't need for itself, pater you're going to be pater. Now here, you don't need the thing that you're trapping. Trapping is you want that thing. You just don't want it to bite you. You don't want it to harm you. You don't want it to do something to you. You don't want it to bug you. No pun intended. So then, you're not going to be chayiv, you're going to be pater, because it's malacha shin tzich leguf. Now, Ikidamasimah, there's two other versions that teach the same qualification of Rab that is going like Reb Shimon on different halachas. Aha. The following brisa says the same idea, but in a different context. Hamapis mursa b'Shabbos. If someone pops a pimple on Shabbos, a boil, imlasis lo peh, if it's to make an opening, we said this on Laman Alpha already, chayiv, you're going to be chayiv. Because you're making either bain or masakin, In Leitzim in the Lechem, to get the pus out, then Potter can be Potter. On that is the question, Mantan, who's the time of this Brisa? Rabbi Shloimy, he says, Rabbi Shimon, it's like Rabbi Shimon. The Malacha Shein Tzich Legufa Potter Lev, it's unnecessary for the thing itself, you can be Potter. The reason why here it's a Malacha Shein Tzich Legufa is because the opening is the Malacha. This person doesn't need an opening, he just wants the pus out. So therefore, it's considered Malacha Shein Tzich Legufa, you're going to be Potter. There are those who teach Rav's qualification on the following Brisa. Hatzad Nachas b'Shabbos, someone captures a snake on Shabbos, so if he's involved in it, that it shouldn't just bite him, Potter is exempt. But if he wants the medicinal properties from the snake, then Chayv is going to be Chayv. That's the Gemara, Matan, who's the Tana that Brisa? On that is Rabbi Shloimy, he says Rabbi Shimon, because the Malacha Shein Tzich Legufa Potter Lev, it's a Malacha that you don't need for itself. You're going to be Potter. Here also, the trapping is the Malacha. I don't need the trapping, I just don't want it to bite me. If it would not come and try to harm me, I wouldn't trap it. That's considered Malacha Shein Tzich Legufa, and that's going like Rabbi Shimon. The Gemara concludes with a few teachings from Shmuel related on the Sugya Amar Shmuel. It says, Ashila Dagna Yam. Someone pulls out a fish from the sea, which Rashi explains is already trapped from before Shabbos. It's not a problem that it was just in the water, so it was kept alive, but it was already trapped from before Shabbos. So Kivin Sheyevish Bekisela, once it dries up the size of a coin, the width of a sela, Chayv then you can be Chayv because of killing it, taking its life away. Because once it's already dried the size of a sela, the fish is not going to live in it. So you Chayv for killing it. That and Risi Bar Oven, he says, and we're talking about a bein sampir between the fins. If it got dry between the fins, that's where it's considered as killing it. Now, Amar Rav Ashi says, don't say it has to be literally dry. Even if it's just making slime, where you're touching it, like the slimy over there, where it draws from the finger, that means to say it already dried up and it's going to die. Another teaching from Amar Bahamduri, Amar Shmuel, that Shmuel said, if someone sticks his hand into the womb of an animal, and he dislocated the embryo inside the mother's womb, he disconnected it, where it's now miscarried through that movement. He's liable for his Isser on Shabbos. Says, my time, what did he do wrong? So Amar Rav, he says, Bahamduri Agbali, Bahamduri, who said this teaching from Shmuel, he told me the reasoning for this. Because he says, Lav, Rav Shesh didn't, Rav Shesh says, Haiman Kalish Kashus, if someone detaches hops, which grow amongst thorns, and they grow from the moisture of the ground, where the thorn is growing from. So if someone disconnects the hops from the prickly shrubs, he's machai mishum dav megiduli. He's liable for tearing something from where it grows. So although it's not attached to the ground, like the Gemara says, other places ma'avir rabbi grows from the ear, but once you tear it out, it's considered dav megiduli for toilish. Here also machai mishum dav megiduli. Here you're taking the fetus from where it grows, which is the mother. You can be chayiv for, it's not specifically ground. You can be chayiv for dav megiduli from anything. And similarly, Yom Abaye says, Haiman the Tolesh, so you can of someone tears out pitra, fungus, Mu'una de Chatzba from the handle of a pitcher, which sometimes on the handle of a pitcher, you leave it there for a long time because of the water, the fungus could grow over there, you have that mold. You're going to be chayv for tearing out something from where it grows. And that, the Gemara concludes, Moshe Baveshis, he asked from a Mishnah later on of Tzadihim Adal. The Mishnah says, it's not good. If someone detached something that's growing from a pot that has a hole, so chayv, you can be chayv because that's growing from the ground. If you're tearing out something that's in a pot that doesn't have a hole, pot you can eat pot because it's not attached to the ground. But wait a second, isn't that Ogidav Megiduli where it's growing? Says the Gemara Hasam over there, by that pot, Labhain Revise. That's not the normal way that a thing grows in a plant, in a pot that doesn't have a hole. That's not the normal way that it should grow. Hach over here, the ones that we're talking about, Hain Revise, that's normal for it to grow like that, meaning because a pot, usually you grow from the ground. Or whatever vegetation you're growing. But here an embryo or hops or the fungus, it's normal for it to be, that's its normal growth, then you can be chayv for ogedavar migidulei. And we don't say that it's going to be potter like the ansnakim, because that's, over there's lav hain revisa, but here it is hain revisa. Some of this we spoke about in today's daf, in Shabbos Daf, Kov Zayin, was we spoke about if a bird comes under a person's jacket, it's mutter likatchila to keep it like that. And that's like the halacha of the Mishnah, which we said the second guy's going to be potter, and we said that's even mutter. How do we know it's mutter? Because like we said, the Mishnah compares to someone who's closing his house to just safeguard it. That's something everyone does. Obviously it's mutter, it's not only potter. And we said that, although all paturi of Shabbos generally is potter avalasa, there are three exceptions. One of them is the halacha we said regarding the deer, that one is keeping it protected, it's even going to be mutter. So to be popping a boil on Shabbos to get out the pus, not to make an opening. That's like we said the halach of taking a hand needle, which you're permitted l'ketchila to take out the thorn, because of tsar, they weren't geyser, it's even mutter l'ketchila. So too, if someone is trapping a snake on Shabbos that it shouldn't bite him, again, not because of you want it for its medicinal purposes, because of tzar, like goes Rabban, there is going to be even mutzal ketchila. We shall return to Perek HaOreg, and we start. Yes, you see, I get excited sometimes. It's a long masechta. And in Perek Shemay Shrotzim, we're up to Perek number 14. So we spoke about 8 types of Shrotzim. These are the Shrotzim that says, Kol Negeba and B'moisim Yitma Adar will be tummy up until the evening. Only these 8 Shrotzim, not all Shrotzim that people think it is. So we spoke about the 8 Shrotzim, we said you trap them, or you make a Chavala, you're going to be Chayiv. Because Yesh Lem Ur, they have Ur. Now, who's that Tana? So we said it's like a Birch Menuri, because he's the one that holds that they have Ur. Nothing more says no. Rab says even like Rabbanan, because only regarding Tumah do they differentiate that there are some that are going to be Ur Kibisari, because we have the Rebbe of Hataneim, which Eila then says not like the other 4. But regarding Shabbos, they agree that it has Ur. So the Rab says the halach of the Mishnah doesn't have to be like Rebbe Menuri, it could even be like Rab. What's your Shash Katzim Masim? We said you make a chavala, you're going to be pater, because like Rashi says, Ein lemar, they don't have skin. And although they have skin, it's considered like part of that flesh. We said, what happens if you trap them? So he said, if it's for a purpose, then you're mikhayev, because you're doing trapping. If it's not for a purpose, so we said it's going to be pater. Who we said in the Gemara, that's like Reb Shimon. We said in the Mishnah, if you have chayiv or ifsha b'shusay, so if you trap them, you're going to be pater because they're already, like Rashi said, they're already trapped already. And you make a chavala, you're going to be chayiv because yesh lem ar, because animals and birds have skin. So that's the chavala, which we said either shaychid or it's going to be of tzeveya. The Gemara says, wait a second, the fact that you said that a chayvel behen, by these 8 trusts, you're going to be chayiv, obviously that they have ar, so we had the 2 interpretations, hud mandama, like we mentioned in the Mishnah, and the Gemara asked him a brayso on Rav, so we said, yeah, there's a 3rd opinion. That's Rabbi Yehuda, who he goes based on gishta, on the thickness. So regarding the laws of Tumah, the same would be regarding Shabbos, because it is considered skin. That's the same halacha of Shabbos and Tumah. But according to Rabbanan, it's not because of Ur, it's only because of a drush of the Quran. Therefore, again, we said the halacha of Meshkarim like Rabbanan, not only like Rabbi Yochanan Menuri. Then we spoke about what's a chabur, that it doesn't go back. We had a pasuk like the black with his skin doesn't go back. So too the chababaroisav of the skin also doesn't go back. We had a halacha of the Mishnah. We said regarding other shkatzim that if you make chabal, you're going to be pater. But we said the inference is if you kill, you're going to be chayiv. Who's that? So first we want to say like Rabbi Yezer, who says that even lice is like a camel. And we said no, you're like Rabbanan, because other shkatzim, unlike lice, are par meravim. It's only kina lice that's not par meravim. But regarding other shkatzim, which are par meravim, of course you'd be chayiv for killing on Shabbos, and the Mishnah could even be like Rabbanan. And their machlek is from how do you learn that from the rams? Do you say that okay, just like the rams you kill, so too anything you kill which even be lice? Only like rams that they par barabba, so too, but that would exclude that of the lice. But all the shkatzim, the Rabban would agree. Said in the Mishnah that if you trap shkatzim, if it's not for a purpose, you're going to be pater. Who's that like? We said like Reb Shimon holds malacha shin zaglu, you're going to be pater. And then we brought that same halacha could be either on the halacha mapis mursa to take out the moisture, to take out the pus, which also is going to be like Reb Shimon, or hatzad nachash leishchena, which are both of these are b'makom tsar, and therefore we say that it's going to be even mutal ketchila. That's going like Reb Shimon. And that's what Rab's coming to qualify. And we ended up with a few teachings from Shmuel. Someone takes the fish from the sea and his already caught from before Shabbos, but dries like that of a slig michayev. And we said that that's between the fins, and that's even if it just makes slime, that's also considered killing it, and it's not going to come back. And we said that if you take out the embryo, if you just dislocate it from the mother's womb, you can be chayiv, just like taking out the hops from the hizn higim and prickly brushes, which you oikad of migadula in contrast to the atzis nakiv, which that's not the normal way of growth, because the vegetation usually grows from that which does have a hole. It's atzit shei einay nakav, where they would say not going to be chayiv, but here where it's no way of growth, that would be considered oikad of migadula, and you would be chayiv for toilish on Shabbos. Thank you to any time for hosting.